Hey Daryl, how's it going? Welcome to my live stream. And Mish, welcome. Thank you guys. How's everybody doing today? I brought out some bags of Seamoss to show you guys. Today I have a bag full of like pure green Seamoss. Then I have a bag of our gold Seamoss, and I put it in a clear bag so you guys can see it better. Right? Hey, Pride and Life, welcome. I'm waving at you. So I got that, and then I have a bag of real wildcrafted Seamoss, and it's like super pretty. This is honestly, and I say it's rare because we buy a lot of Seamoss, and this is all we could have bought from it. I think I don't know how we're going to sell this. Even if we are going to sell it, we might just raffle it off or something like that, or I don't know. But it wasn't cheap. It was really expensive, and it's really hard to come by on that quality. Most times when you see wildcrafted, I just have a quick drink. You'll see stuff that is whatchamacallit, I don't know, I don't like the look of it. That's generally why, you know, and I also think that honestly that wildcraft is not good for the environment. I think it ruins the marine life, and so I will, you know, but I brought it here because I wanted to show you guys the difference between what's generally sold on the market and what I know as true wildcraft. And the first thing is that the wildcrafted is a different species than what is normally commercially grown. All right, well, let's start with some of those questions. So what should people look for when purchasing Seamoss? That's a good question. I would look for something that doesn't look too dry and brittle, doesn't have a lot of black lines in it. A lot of people talk about and I get in arguments about this a lot. A lot of people talk about the pool-grown Seamoss. I really don't believe that there's such thing as pool-grown Seamoss. I'm a pretty good person at searching the internet, and I've looked, and I have not seen one video, one thing. The closest I've seen to pool-grown Seamoss is a video where they basically they propagated the Seamoss on the lines before they put it out in the ocean. And this is why I say it doesn't, like, there's no such thing as pool Seamoss, because when you really sort of like logically think about the process of pool-grown Seamoss, you got to ask yourself, why would they grow it in the pool when the ocean is free? A pool costs money to produce. It costs money to run. It costs, like, there's pumps. There's you got to regulate the pH level. You got to, you know, make sure you got all the right nutrients. Those nutrients cost money. So how, like, if I have to put all this iodine, raw magnesium, raw this, all, you know, 92 components for the Seamoss, and I try to mimic the seawater, so I have to have all those minerals in there, and I got to know what the concentration of the minerals are in each, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just realistically, it's like there's no such thing as pool grown. This is what I think pool grown is. It's a different species. It's mass produced in Asia, and they dry it using industrial drying machines. I watched a video once where in the Philippines, they're drying this stuff in these boxes. And if I had to think about it, like, if I'm developing a drying machine to dry my Seamoss, do I want the Seamoss to get smaller, or do I want it to retain the weight? I want it to retain the weight, and that's why you see this stuff that's like thick and it just doesn't look normal. And it's also the type of species that is, you know, that they use, which I find is real consistent in wildcraft or wild harvest Seamoss. So getting that's the thing about looking for the Seamoss. So what I would look for is I'm just gonna bring this close here. I would look for something that's soft. It can be dry and a little bit brittle. You want to avoid a lot of these black lines. And it's okay to have salt on the Seamoss, right? Even with the Seamoss here, there's no salt, but over time, as it dries and it cures, the salt forms. Because, guys, let's think of it realistically. This thing's coming out of the ocean, right? It's from the sea. It's gonna have salt water on it. And when that salt water dries, it turns into salt. So I don't know why everybody has this up in arms about having salt in it. I mean, it's the type of salt that you should be looking for. And so the type of salt shouldn't be grainy, and it shouldn't look like actual large, giant salt crystals. Like anything that's not like a sort of like a talc powder or like silica or something like that. That's something, you know. If it's bigger than a sand grain, then it's probably a problem, right? I'm just gonna go back to the Seamoss here. So next question is, how long will it take to get my order if I live in the States? If you live in the States, an order from us should take you about 2 days. And the reason being is that in order to maintain efficiency and, a regular supply, we have a distribution points in Canada and United States. So your product is shipped from here to those locations. And then when you order it, you place your order, it goes straight out from our distribution. In the States, it's in Atlanta. So however long something would take to ship to you in Atlanta, because you said the States, you could be in any state, right? But say you're in like Florida, it should take about 2-3 days. I think the longest I've seen is a week, and that also depends on what you select when you go to the checkout, because we have lots of different shipping options, you know, whether you want overnight, 1 day, 3 days, you know, whatever. So I hope that answers the question. Hey guys, welcome Nature's Rule UK and 92 Reasons. Thank you for joining and for that question. I'm going to show you some really cool. This is green Seamoss, and so the varieties that we cultivate, which is Garcilaria and the Catatini, they sometimes produce these green grains. You know, and I think that, you know, everybody asks me about the different colors and stuff. We have not tested this to actually know what sort of component it is, if it's more in one thing or less in another. We're doing some research to find out more. But the way I found is it, you know, depending on the area where you find it, depends on the color and stuff like that. And so some will come out really green, some won't. There's probably about, maybe from what we found or what we see, there's probably about maybe 5 or 6 subspecies of both the Yucca and Catatina. And some farmers that I know of, they actually they mix the different species together to form hybrids. So you're asking a question, Rick, how does it turn green? No idea. We find it green in the ocean. And that's the thing a lot of people don't realize. When you raise it in the ocean and we're cultivating it commercially, we're actually going out and picking the starter plants from plants out in the wild, right? And when like to say it's you know, wildcrafted is better, there's really not much difference, except the wild harvested stuff is attached to a rock. And some people say minerals come from the rock. You know, true, but it still grows, you know, if how would I put it? If that component was required for it to grow, in order to grow, then it would only grow on rocks, and that's it. And so you find it growing everywhere, you know? It just happens to attach itself to rocks so that it doesn't float all over in the ocean, and it's not like tumbleweed. So yeah, that's some of our green Seamoss. And this stuff is also pretty rare because, like, we get maybe, I don't know, I can't say the amount of pounds because it's different all the time. But the point is, like, we'll get a bag, maybe a couple bags like this at a time from a farmer, right? The most that you get is the gold, which is all bleach. And this is actually green. It was red. It was brown. It was all different. Whatchamacallit? All different types. So what I want to show you guys real quick is this bag here. You got this special, and this is true wildcraft. Now, unfortunately, we can't put this on the website and sell it like this because we really don't get enough. And honestly, I really don't want to get too much because I feel like selling this is horrible for the environment. I'm very against, wild harvested Seamoss, mainly because I know how damaging it can be for the marine life. And then on top of it, it's like there won't be enough to sustain the world's supply. So like, why are we pushing something that, you know what I mean, is really, it's gonna we harvest too much of this, we might not have any wildcraft. So if you look at the difference in the species, the wildcrafted has really kind of thick strands, right? And it looks like really like gummy worms. Well, I'll show you this. Yes, the green stuff is definitely used in salads more than the reds and the other types of Seamoss. I think it's maybe even the taste might be different. Next time I'm on the farm, I'm gonna try some raw green Seamoss and see what it's like. All right. So you see the strains here are a little bit thinner than the cultivated species here, whereas here the strains are a little bit like more like kind of like gummy worms. And the reason too is like when this is dry, it's really like fat. Like the strains are like fat, like not fat as my fingers, but say half my finger. Whereas these ones, the raw is different. I wish I had like a waterproof camera. I would take you guys out and do a live stream right from the water. I think that would be cool. Yeah, you're right. It's hard to tell what colors you're gonna get. But I mean, well, no. I mean, the colors really come down. What you're gonna get comes down to what you plant, right? And what you have as starter. Yes, you're right. I look at a GoPro, but you know what? The GoPro doesn't have it doesn't have live stream capabilities unless you're connected to a Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll see if we can get something like that going. Some kind of I don't know. Remote internet or something, internet hotspot. Maybe we can connect it to our phones. So yeah, this is true wildcrafted. I know because we paid a diver to go and find it. It's getting really harder and harder and harder to source this stuff. I've been talking to a lot of people that used to sell this before, or, get it for themselves, and it's just not as easy. One of the things you'll notice with the wildcraft is it will have this kind of dirt and debris in it, and so that's why definitely with wildcrafted or wild harvest. I shouldn't say wildcrafted, but definitely with wild harvest, you should be cleaning your Seamoss really well, because this type of strain tends to capture more debris than the ones that we cultivate commercially, which is Carcelaria and which happen to have this property to it that makes it a little slimy, and it allows it doesn't allow the dirt to kind of collect on the stuff, which really you don't want in your Seamoss, right? You don't want all this stuff attached to the Seamoss and the Seamoss sucking whatever nutrients is off that debris. Do I think Seamoss will ever be extinct? No. I think that certain species might, right? Because of, like, if you over-harvest them and they're not there to sort of regenerate and grow. But there are so many different species of Seamoss and so many different variations, and there's so many in so many locations that to say that they'll be extinct, I don't know. But I think that you'll have a hard time getting wildcrafted soon if people keep pushing the fact that it has to be wildcrafted. And the reality is, no one knows if there is even a difference between wildcrafted and ocean raised. Or, sorry, I shouldn't say wildcrafted, wild harvest. So if it's harvested in the wild versus this, like, you know, it's all someone's opinion, but it's not, nothing's based in fact. And so one of the things that we're looking at in the future, I mean, it's in the back of our minds, is trying to find a testing facility where we can actually go and pay to get the Seamoss tested. So if you know anybody that can test Seamoss, or a company that has the ability to test Seamoss, I would really love it if you could share that with us and let us know so that we can go and see the difference. Because I'd love to put the argument to rest. It really bothers me, the amount of people that are, you know, spreading stuff. And, you know, so, sorry to cut I just seen this question. Isn't the ocean wild harvest? So in the ocean, I guess there's two types of ways to, here, okay, let me start by this. First of all, everybody talks about pool grown, and I'll say this again and again and again. In my view, there's no such thing as pool grown. I own, like, different businesses over time, and I know how cost factor and everything, and I just could not imagine someone developing a business based on running pools to grow this stuff when you could do it in the ocean. It's not like running it in the pool is going to make it grow faster, right? It would be better to grow it in the wild and on lines in the environment that works best for it, right? And that's what I think everybody's doing. So I don't think there's ocean grown, you know what I mean? Or sorry, I don't think there's pool grown. But that being said, when we grow it in the ocean on ropes, and we grow it using, let me just show you here. See that roll of rope? So we take these ropes and we put twine on my phone here. We put this twine on it and we attach the Seamoss to the ropes. Right? We also hang up really low to the ground, so it's like almost at the bottom of the ocean floor. Right? We put anchors down and stuff like that. So it's like we're not even recreating. We're putting it in its exact environment. Like the Seamoss grows that way. It's always on the ground. It usually attaches itself to some kind of medium, whether it be a rock or a piece of coral or something like that, right? It needs that so it doesn't just float around like tumbleweed or whatever. So that is grown like that, right? So that is, I forget where we were talking. So that's one way of growing in the ocean. The other one is that the Seamoss will grow in rocks, right? Where this stuff is, like they say wild harvest. And this will tend to attach itself and only grow. Like this species here only grows on rocks. You can't take it and put it on a line and expect it to grow. It won't survive, or it takes too long to grow. And it's just, you know, it's easier for us. And not only that, but it, like I said before, it collects a lot of debris, right? So this stuff, if it's not placed in the right area, and there's, say, dirt and different crustaceans and stuff like that, it's going to attach to that Seamoss. And when we harvest it and process it, it's going to be very, very difficult to clean it and make it sort of palatable or whatever. Like, I wouldn't consume it, right? Because it's just like, I've gotten some from, like, I remember a family member once, you know, like, oh, you got Seamoss, you're selling Seamoss here, let me get you the Seamoss. He brought me the Seamoss, and oh my gosh, it was like the worst I have ever seen. It had so much sand and dirt in it, and twine, and different, like, you know what I mean? You gotta remember that the ocean has a lot of garbage in it, right? And it's moving around. And the Seamoss essentially is like the ocean's filter. And so that's another reason why we should be, like, getting more onto the ocean rays is that by putting this stuff in there and creating more Seamoss into the environment, we're actually like helping the reef systems grow. So the coral reefs get a benefit from this. Also, all the marine life and stuff. When you harvest stuff like this, wild crafted, like, or wild harvest Seamoss, it was put there for a reason. It was sitting in that environment to help balance the area, and the universe knows how to grow it the right amount in the right way. It's not like there's excess grows. It's like what grows there is what's needed. So when you take that out, you're depriving that environment of what it needs. Do you know what I mean? So this is why I say, like, no to wildcraft unless you can like prove or show a definite like reason as to why wildcraft is better, which I've not seen any information on that. I don't know. There's no reason not to do it. I eat this shit, right? The farm rate every day, all day, every day. You know what I mean? I put it in my tea. I put it in my oatmeal. Yo, what's up, my bro, Tasso? I got one of my buddies here from Canada. I want to say shout out to Tasso and make sure he's well respected. That's my boy from a long time. And I'm gonna get you on the Seamoss, Tasso, and you're gonna be like a testimony and show everybody the difference. He's very new to Seamoss. I know a lot of you guys watching, you're like, you know, fanatics like I am, right? But I'm trying to turn people on to Seamoss one step at a time. So Tasso, you know, since you're like my guest of honor in here, what? Let me know if you have a specific question about Seamoss. And look how much weight I've lost, eh, Tass? I look thinner. I know. It's been a while since you've seen me. So you got a question, Tasso, or no? No? Come on, man. We got to keep the topics moving. You know what I mean? Keep it interesting. So the only way to take it is to have to be jelly, or you're drinking it right now, probably. So yeah, I take it in a gel, and in fact, give me a second here. I'm gonna let you guys look at that Seamoss for a second up close. Can I even show that up close? Okay, so take a look at that Seamoss up close. I'm gonna run and get my jar that I keep my Seamoss in. Hi-oh! I'm back. So this is the Seamoss that I take. I blend it in my NutriBullet, or what is that, Ninja Bullet. And then this is the purple Seamoss that I have. That's why it looks a little purple here. I've been taking it and to see the difference between that and the gold. And so the next question, how much do I consume a day? I consume anywhere between 2 and 4 tablespoons. I usually I make some in a tea, and I add some, they have this thing down here in St. Lucia called cocoa tea. And so I basically make a cocoa tea, which is like chocolate tea. It's like kind of like a hot chocolate / hot tea. They grind it off a stick of like raw cacao. So imagine you had, when they make the chocolate, the raw stuff, that stuff that they sell in all the health food stores, down here we sell them in sticks, and we grind them into our drinks, right? And they make a tea out of it. And so it's called cocoa tea, and then I add in maybe about 2 tablespoons of Seamoss, and then I also add in a bunch in my oatmeal. So a lot of people sometimes ask me, like, what is the most that you should be taking? My advice is this. Everybody's body's different. Everybody's composition is different. So what you need to do is take it slowly. don't go wilding out and adding in like, you know, just like overdoing it. The first time I tried Seamoss, I started seeing the benefits like instantly, to the point where I just was like eating it like crazy. And I'll never forget the time I got like this massive like I don't know, it was like a mineral rush. Like my eyes were bugged out. I was just like this. And so to me, that was like I was taking too much of it too fast. And I say you start with 1 to 2 teaspoons, you know. Wow, 8 ounces in one day. See, and so this is the reason why I was saying like you got to take it slowly, and everybody's body's different. Is that one of the main components in Seamoss is iodine. And so iodine can be really good for you. But if you take too much and you overconsume it, it could also be very bad for you, right? It could really fuck up your thyroid and mess up your, you know, your overall health. So my view is that you should like always be consulting with your doctor about what you're doing. Let him know. And if you can, try and get some blood tests going every so often, so that you can look at your blood and make sure that you're getting the right minerals and and let your doctor know, like, I'm taking this stuff. It could be like, you know, high in iodine. What do you think about it? What should I look for? Because the reality is, I'm not a doctor. I'm a Seamoss farmer. I'm growing and taking Seamoss, and it works for me and it's good for me the way I'm doing it. But if I'm giving advice to someone else, you need to consult an expert to kind of back up what they're saying, because everybody says, like, you could talk to 10 different Seamoss farmers, they'll give you 10 different opinions. They'll probably give you 15 different opinions. You know what I mean? So I hope that answers your question. But 8 ounces is a lot. I don't think I could eat 8 ounces of raw gel in one day. I'd probably do maybe 2 ounces. You know what I mean? That's a lot. That's a lot of Seamoss. Show more of that green, because I know you guys love the Seamoss. Just looking at it, you know. I mean, I know I'm a pretty face and everything, but the reality is that the Seamoss is the pride of the show. Okay, so if it's 8 ounces and it's infused, then I think that's not as bad as just eating 8 ounces of Seamoss straight. If you get my drift, you know what I mean? Hey, no problem, Healthy Vibes. How did you feel on it? Are you still there, or did you leave? Yes, honestly, I want to know how you felt. Amazing, eh? Maybe I should do that. I think I should. I think I should just go and. I don't know. I want to do it, but at the same time, I'm thinking in my head as I'm saying it, I was like, you know what, dude, you should get your blood checked and know where you stand first before you just bombard your body with like 8 ounces of Seamoss. But I could see how it could really. Well, see, that's the thing. When you said the jitters, I got the jitters when I first took Seamoss. And I think I took like probably about 4 ounces or something. It was a lot. She told me to take 2 teaspoons. I took that. It felt good. Then I like tried it in some water, and then I tried it in a smoothie, and then I was just like, you know, tasting it more, and you know, I definitely got the jitters. For real. For real. I don't know, you guys listen to hip hop. But this guy here is baddest. Doom. MF Doom. If you're into hip hop, check out MF Doom. Yeah, you got to be careful, dude, because you take too much, it could really damage your thyroid here, which regulates everything in your body, right? So. Any more questions? Anybody got questions? You want to see more Seamoss? The wildcrafted again. And I think one thing you'll notice is, if you're privy to it, 3 table max. Yeah, see, I would tell people to take like 1 to 2 teaspoons max, you know, to start. So I was saying, with the wildcrafted, you'll see, this is like pretty clean stuff. Most of the stuff we see is like way different than this. It's dirty. And even on this, you'll see there's salt. Right? There's salt on this. All over it. So what are people talking about? Oh, it shouldn't have salt. Many of the people that tell you it shouldn't have salt, I can tell you right now, they don't buy Seamoss on a large basis, because if you buy Seamoss on a large basis, you will see salt in Seamoss. I see it all the time. Hell, I sell the salt on our website. You know what I mean? Like, you can go on our website and get buy just the pure Seamoss salt. And while we haven't tested it, I believe it's pure iodine. I know this. Oh shit! I know that it tastes like salt, and it's good. I put it on my eggs. Fucking awesome. But we haven't really explored any uses with the salt yet. I know down here they're using the salt for gardening purposes. So they'll take the salt and they'll put it they'll use it to attract slugs and stuff off their plants. You guys want to see a nice view? Oh, you switched accounts, Rick. Oh, look at that. Trying to change it up on me so I don't know. So what other products do we have soon? That's a good question. We are exploring various different health products to add to the Seamoss line. We might even come out with a different website to do it all. I know that we work closely with a company called Vegan Electric. And Vegan Electric's out of Atlanta. It's a good friend of mine who's a herbalist, and he cares really about getting good herb products and stuff like that. We're actually building a wall today. We got some guys over here building a wall, and check this out. There's a house there. That's a sick house that's doctor built down here. So we're like right at the tip of the island in St. Lucia. So the products that we're looking at, to get back to the question, is moringa, soursop leaves, maybe even soursop gel, if we can figure out a way to ship it. And so soursop leaves, soursop gel. There's a product there's a herb down here called bois-bondet. I don't know if you guys have heard of bois-bondet. It stands for hardwood, and it's basically like a male enhancement. Something you got to be really careful with. But we're looking at making a tincture or a tea out of that stuff. So yeah, we got moringa, we got bois-bondet, we got the soursop leaves. There's also bay leaf. That's very good. And so the thing is that as we're slowly growing, we're really focusing right now on the Seamoss. And then once we have the Seamoss sort of like locked in and dialed and everybody's happy, which so far things are going great, we're going to expand the different products and maybe even add in, through Vegan Electric, we're probably going to start doing Seamoss capsules. But I don't know, to me, I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of the Seamoss capsules. You know what I mean? Like I would have to probably try the Seamoss capsule to see what the effects are like and what the difference is. Because I like the gel. You know what I mean? And well, it takes some work to make the gel. I feel like, you know what I mean? There's plenty of amazing gel makers out there. And so in some ways, like, it's great that you buy the Seamoss directly from us and you buy the raw stuff, but I feel like it's important to source out a good gel maker and like a guy that knows his stuff and is passionate about what he's doing, because these gel makers are doing some amazing stuff, and you'll get products that you wouldn't even think of making of your own. You know what I mean? Like, there's some people that are, you know, mixing it with burdock, they're mixing it with bladderwrack, they're also adding fresh fruits to it and stuff like that. So definitely, I think it's important for you to support or find a good Seamoss gel maker. You know what I mean? Because they do it really good. Shout out to all my gel maker friends there, by the way. I'm going to give you another view of that. So this is the wildcrafted. So this is what you should kind of look for, and like, this is top quality wildcraft. You know what I mean? Most of it doesn't come out this kind of blonde. It's usually like a dark brown. You know, it looks kind of like, sort of like that, but all around, you know? And then this is our, what we farm here. And that's the Euclidema and the Euclidema and the Garcilaria. So yeah, I just seen this question about the fans of the powder. Here's the thing, I can't really have an opinion about the powder until I've tried the powder, and I think I just said it earlier that I want to try it to see what the difference is. But my view is kind of like, I think it's more like a better delivery method by having it in the gel and mix it in the water, and then you infuse it in your food. You know what I mean? Because the body wants to process that dried Seamoss, and like, how potent is it? You know what I mean? And I would honestly, I would have to trust and know the guy that is, did I screw it up with the Wild Harvest? I don't know. I get all these names confused all the time. Wild Harvest, Wildcrafted. And I mean, there's just so much, I don't know, Seamoss is still really new, so it's kind of like a Wild West, you know what I mean? There's just a lot of people that have good intentions and they have good hearts and everything, but sometimes they're feeling out misinformation. And sometimes I have to I have to remind myself that, like, okay, don't snap on this person. Like, they only know what someone told them. And if someone told them the wrong thing, is it really their fault? I don't know. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff I didn't know about Seamoss until I got more into Seamoss, you know? So I'll leave it at that, you know? Try to be understanding and just be loving. That's the, you know, to me, that's what this community is all about, is just sharing information, growing, and becoming knowledgeable and stuff, you know what I mean? And not thinking that one person is the guru and, you know, the end all and be all. Although I am, and I say this all the time, I've mentioned it at least a couple times in the video, I'm sick of people saying that don't buy pool grown. I've never seen pool grown. I've never seen a picture of like Seamoss growing in a pool. And it just literally does not make sense to grow Seamoss in a pool. It is like, you know? So the last question was, how long have I been consuming Seamoss? So I've been consuming it on and off for about almost a year now. And how I got into Seamoss was basically, I'm from Toronto, Canada. And I got introduced, like, I always knew about Seamoss as a kid. And I always, like, you know, tried it, well, not as a kid, as a teenager. And I always tried it every once in a while and stuff like that. And, you know, I remember just the girls being scared of me whenever whenever I got the moss in me, the women would run, right? You know what I mean? And so that's what I knew about it. And it was like this creamy drink. It had like apricots in it and dates. And like I had a buddy from mine from Bermuda that used to make it, and I used to love it. I used to call it the baby maker because it was like you knew that thing was going to be making babies. And so that's how I started younger. And then about a year ago, you start hearing everybody talking about the different health benefits and this and that. And I was kind of like, you know what? You could tell I was from Canadian, yes. So I hear everybody talking about, I can't remember exactly where I heard it from. I know the one person that really acknowledged me and introduced me, and I have to give him a shout out because I feel like this guy deserves a lot of respect, and that is Akeem Pierre, right? He's from Vancouver, Canada. That guy seems, I don't know him personally, but he seems like a really cool dude and just loves what he's doing and just, you know, spreads a lot of peace, joy, and love. And so I'm fully about that and respect that. I feel like he's definitely a legend in this game, so I always give him his much due respect. Him and Priest Kailash, his relative there, who's like really respected here in the island in St. Lucia. So shout outs to those guys, you know, salute. But so yeah, I the problem was I started looking around and it was hard to find the Seamoss. You know what I mean? Like no one had it, this and that. And so this is like I never even really tried it, right? Like, and then so I found this lady, this old Jamaican lady that was making the Seamoss at Jill. And so I bought some of her and I loved it. I was like, you know, like I woke like night and day. Like I was imagining you feel like shit one day and then the next day you feel amazing. And I felt amazing since that day. You know what I mean? I sleep better. I wake up better. I'm in a more positive mood. I handle stress better. I feel more healthier, more energetic, just more alive, right? And so it came about like, okay, where do I get this product? Where do I buy it? I want to make sure it's a good source and stuff. And then the research led me that, you know, St. Lucia just happens to be one of the islands that produces this product. And so I was like, okay, I'll go down to St. Lucia. I mean, my dad's from there. You know what I mean? I travel there a lot, and I'll see if I can find some. And so I came down to St. Lucia, and I'll tell you, listen, I get a lot of messages about people, and I don't want to shit on you guys, right? But I get a lot of messages of people trying to say, oh, I'll just fly down to St. Lucia and, you know, meet a farmer and this and that. Like, trust me, it is not that easy, and I ran into a lot of trouble. Well, not a lot of trouble, just a lot of dead ends and a lot of, like, people saying they'll get me it, but, you know, I wasn't sure of the price or the quality. You know, even my uncle brought me some stuff, and it was, like, the wackest Seamoss I ever seen. Like, I don't know. He must have, like, picked it from the worst place ever. I couldn't believe it. It just had twine and all this garbage in it. And so it wasn't until I met this guy. So I asked one of my dad's friends, who my dad really respects, and do you know someone that can help me with the Seamoss? And he's like, I'm going to put you on to the guy who's the guy, right? And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, this guy is Seamoss. And so I got connection, who's my business partner now, Ashen, and he showed me the ways of the Seamoss. And we looked at it and we saw the demand and the supply, and so we were like, you know what? Originally I set out to just buy some for me and my friends, and so it was more like, you know what? We can provide a good product and a good service, and you know we can sell this stuff. And so we built a farm fairly quickly. I feel like everything that we did was like had the blessing of God. Like you have no idea like how the doors opened and how things just aligned and everything. It was amazing. Like I feel like almost writing a book to be like a testimonial. So we did that. We built the farm and we started working with other farmers, and we started developing partnerships and stuff like that. And so now we have strong connections with multiple farmers, a couple of farmer associations, you know. And this stuff, trust me, if I didn't have Ash in there to help me, none of this would happen. He is St. Lucian Seamoss. You know what I mean? I'm just the guy, the face, that kind of talks to you guys and answers the question, but real talk, Ashen's the man. He's the boss. And, you know, he's my new brother. I love that guy. So, before I get emotional, let's show you some Seamoss. This is the green Seamoss, because I know Seamoss Queen just showed up. Sorry, Seamoss Herbs Queen just showed up. So I want to show you some of this. So we're looking at green Seamoss here. There is a little bit of purple in here, you know. And then this is some of the stuff that we cultivate. This is really, really, really fresh. Like, you can tell it's fresh because it's just like, fuck, they probably just dried it a couple days ago. It's really soft. You will not always get Seamoss soft and like that. You will get it generally a little bit more harder and a little bit more crispier, you know, unless it's the color. The color, because of the way they process it, it always tends to be soft and a little bit of moist, right? And then here you got the wildcraft. And this is like really top quality wildcraft. Don't expect the average wildcraft Seamoss to look like this. Hey. You know what I mean? You can see this is the... I don't think that's the part that was connected to the rock, but that's generally where some of the debris would capture onto that Seamoss. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any more questions. You know, I really enjoy doing these live streams with you guys, and then I just want to say I appreciate you coming in here and listening to me talk. And, you know, because I think most people are sick of me, like my family is pretty sick of me talking about Seamoss. And because I talk about it all the time. So the question, do I live in St. Lucia full time? No, but I do have property in here. And so I live between here and in Canada, Toronto. I'm actually a real estate agent in Toronto. I buy and sell investment real estate properties. So if you ever looking to invest in Toronto, you know, also send me a message. I can really put you on and hook you up. Excuse me. But yeah, I probably live in St. Lucia about half the time. Half of the year. And it took me probably about a month here looking and trying to meet Seamoss people before I met Ash. So I think if you come down here and you meet someone and you connect with them right away, like, you know, definitely be blessed and because I'm not saying don't do it, but I guess what I want to be honest about is, like, don't come and expect it to be easy, because it wasn't for me, you know. And if you can come down and get your own link, more you know, more value to you. Yeah, you know. I am in St. Lucia, right? So I'm smoking a cigarette. Let's just say that. I guess the mic is pretty. The pickup on here is good. Thank you, bro. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know what I mean? I am living like a really good life, and I owe it all to God. Like, you know, if it wasn't for my strong belief in God and you know, my dedication to Him and the missions that He sends me on, I don't think I would be here, because I feel like I am on a mission from God. You know what I mean? To help bring Seamoss to people, but also help create an environment that's beneficial to the farmers, because we do a lot of work with the farmers, we do a lot of helping, and a lot of times we're not expecting anything in return. You know what I mean? Sometimes people out here, they want to help the farmers, but there's always like a catch to it. There's always like, you know, do this for me and I'll do that for you. If we do something for someone and it costs us something, and because a lot of times we'll give out stuff like rope and stuff like that, you know, all we expect in return is the value of what we gave you in the first place. You know, if you want to give us more, you give us more, right? But if not, like, you know, that's not our like, the purpose on us to help you is to help you. It's not to gain off you. You know what I mean? And so I feel like you just put goodness out there and you get goodness back. Yes. You know, so I think you got to keep that in mind when you're coming down to this island. You need to like respect it and treat the people with the respect they deserve, and not be here as some kind of like, you know, person to exploit their resources. You know, that I'm totally against, and I think is wrong. So. Oh, you want to come in the live video? Okay, I've never done this before. Let's see if we can. I hope I have a strong enough internet connection. Connecting.
What's up, man?
Hey, what's up going on, buddy?
All is well.
Yes, all is good. All is good. How are you
Listen,
doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I actually just came from working out, so I hear you lighting up, and I'm like, it's like a
What is
different
that, your next
scenario.
step too, or like do you do that after you work out?
Nah, not really. Nothing bad. I'm from the
Yeah.
West Indies myself, so I'm surrounded by it. I live in Brooklyn, in East Flatbush, so
Oh yeah. Well, I figured you had to know the sound, right?
yeah.
You had to partake if you know what it sounds like.
I know. Listen, I really appreciate what you're doing, man, educating the community out there and, you know, showing the world really what Seamoss looks like and educating people on, you know, what's right, air quotes, pool grown versus ocean raised and wild harvested and that sort of stuff. Because you hear a lot of the mixed messaging in the
Yes.
Seamoss community,
Mm-hmm.
and hearing it from somebody like yourself who pretty well known and has a lot of knowledge behind it, you know, just says a lot about what people should know. And
Yes.
obviously, you know, you may not be the end all solution as to, you know, you're the only person who knows about this, but, you know,
No.
with all that you've grown and, you know, what you're showing the world, obviously says a lot about what you're doing and what you should know, right, in some sense. So
Thank
really
you.
cool. Big kudos to you, man. I really enjoyed just listening and seeing what you have going on and seeing the questions coming in. So
Look, my dad is proud. Look at him.
he's doing a fantastic thing.
Don't buy. Just I don't want anybody buying any fish. You know what I mean?
I know. It's funny though, to your point about the pool raised, right? Because out here in Brooklyn, you hear a lot of people saying don't buy it from that person because it's pool raised. And my response is, well, how do you know that? I don't buy it from anybody locally like that unless I see where they're getting it from.
Yeah.
Um, but when I hear people just around here saying that, you know, I'm never going to step on anybody's toes because it's their business. I don't want to stop anybody from getting money, but I
Hmm.
do have to question people when they say, you know, that's pool raised, don't get it from there, because how do you know that? You know, I've
Yeah.
never seen pool raised myself.
Never, and that's what drives me nuts. Like, because to me, it's like, okay, if someone showed me a pool raise, and I would say, oh yeah, okay, it's there. But I Googled it, dude. Like, I'm from Toronto. I know how to research. I Googled it. I looked, and honestly, the closest thing I saw to anything grown where they did it in a tank was in Japan, because they in Asia, where they're mass producing the sea moss for snacks and all that stuff. And what they do is they culturize the sea moss spores, and then they put them. They wrap these lines onto I guess like a box, and then they soak the box in the water. But it's actual seawater that's pumped in. right? And then they add the culture to it, and then the Seamoss captures on the culture, and then they grow it. And this is mainly for like kelp, and so I forget the other species, but the stuff that they would use for like, sushi rolls and stuff like that. That stuff is grown that way. That's the closest I've ever seen to it. Now, what people show me and say this is pool grown, where I've seen that grown naturally is in Asia, in like Indonesia and Taiwan, and especially the Philippines, where they're growing like a more thicker type of, it's not the Garcilaria or the Euclid, it's like, I don't even know the species, but it's more thicker and it's like a big bush. And that stuff, and they would show, I saw a video where they showed like the drying tables, right, or these machines. So they put them in these boxes where they probably blow a lot of air in it or whatever. And obviously, if these guys are designing it commercially, they're going to design it so that it dries but never loses its weight, right? And so that stuff there. And I even think that stuff might have more gel in it. You know what I mean? Because when you dry this stuff, it loses some of its gel properties, right? So, I don't know. You know what I mean? I do question the salt. That is not natural. Like, here's the thing. From what we see, salt is natural, but the type of salt that I saw in there isn't natural. Now, do they do that because they figure it's supposed to have salt on it, and the drying process doesn't allow the salt to grow, so they throw salt on it so it looks like the product? You know what I mean? People do that when they're trying to recreate something. They have to make it almost look like the stuff. But the stuff that I'm buying and harvesting, it has salt on it. It has a lot, especially the full colored. It has tons of salt.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even I'm not here to offend anybody, but there is a person out here in Brooklyn that has a Korean store, and you look at it. I wish I had it on me now. It just doesn't look appetizing at all. So when I asked the guy, I said, where do you get this from? Because, I sell Seamoss myself, and I don't like to see crap. So when you question some of these people, this guy in particular, this Korean gentleman, he said, yeah, we get it from Jamaica. And I said, yeah, so why does the bag say made in China? And he goes, oh, no, it's from Jamaica. And I said, how can it be from Jamaica if the packaging says made in China?
Yeah.
And he just really didn't have a response. And he says, next customer. And I just really want to just say, can you please get this stuff out of here? Because this is BS. You can't do this to people. Yeah. And so his response is, I'm making money. That's not cool.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
So I believe that that's probably coming from the Philippines. You know what I mean? Or somewhere that. And, because I know who you are, I'll maybe try and send you a link. But like the video that I watched, but if you saw these farms, it is like massive, like fucking miles and miles and miles, and all the water is like green and dark, and it's just like you could tell like it's like fully industrialized.
Gotcha.
And when we set up our farms here, we purposely space out the lines, and we don't, no one allows too many farms in one area because it's just not good for the ocean. Because you're it's supposed to be like a balance, you know what I mean? And so you put it on one, you put it too much on one side, it's not going to be good.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, so I'm curious. So right now, because we will be purchasing from you. We started this company a few months ago in the pandemic, and we've been doing really well so far, thank God.
Yes.
But so we've been getting our Seamoss from Grenada, and it is. Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, we get about 75 to 100 pounds, and it's very, very dense. But obviously, the reason why we know it's good, and this guy spends a lot of time. His name is Willon. He's a harvester himself. It's very clean. It's obvious, and that was one of the questions I asked you the other day about. Would you sell it for more if that person like cleaned it thoroughly, took off all the salt, the seashells? Because when we get it, I mean, it's almost like, what's the stuff even in the ocean? How clean it is, right? I mean, it's crazy. And so, obviously, when we, put it in water, we bring it back to life, it expands tremendously. Is that similar to what you guys have too?
So I would have to see it to be sure, but this stuff does. So the wildcrafted, I'm just going to show you quickly. This stuff will expand tremendously, right?
Got it.
And you can almost see it in the strains.
Right.
So this will expand quite a bit.
this stuff does, like,